Yeah, when we're young, right, we're very impressionable. And
Yeah.
usually, the younger we are when we hear music, the more impressioned we're going to be by that. Do you remember, or what was your first memory that you can remember when it comes to music that really made an impression on you?
Uh, man, there's a lot. I think hearing my mom sing, like, as I got older, to understand, my mother used to blow the roof off the church. And when I was a kid, of course, as a kid, you didn't care about going to church. It was just something that you did. And
Mm-hmm.
believe me, my parents had me at church 8 days a week. So, like, but I remember one day when my mom got up to sing a solo, and I remember just, not drawing or flipping through the Bible just to, read, or, really just kind of stopping everything and looking up and seeing my mother sing and being touched by it. And I think that was the first time I was ever truly touched by music. And, the people in the church were hooping and hollering and catching the spirit. And I just remember my mother just stood there, just strong footed, and just belted out a song. And I just realized, like, I had a sense of pride for my mom. And more importantly, I truly felt something beautiful that I don't think as a child, I think that was my first time experiencing emotional beauty.
So at a very young age, you're experiencing the emotional side of music, and that, I mean,
Yeah, yeah, for
as an
sure.
impressionable youth, that's really gonna hold some meaning to you for a really long time.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's not just some man. I hate to say the word, but like soulless kind of music that's just that can kind of permeate our radios, right? Like you just,
Right, right.
it's just ticky tack. With you, that didn't happen. You were inundated with the emotional side of music really young.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I
For
love
sure.
that, and I can see that in your sound now. There's a lot of emotion in your sound, and man, you mentioned a few minutes ago about being from the country, and then being from the city. You've done both sides of that. Now,
Mhm.
I have as well. I live in the country now. I grew up literally inner city Boston, so I know
Right,
I know what
right.
that is. I know what ghettos are. I know what drive-bys are. I lived that life when I was young. So
Yeah.
and I also understand the way music can influence somebody depending on geography, right? So, like, if you're from out in the country, you're going to hear things that are different than what you're going to hear in the city. How do you feel that's kind of shaped who you are as an artist now?
You mean how having both of those influence have shaped
Yeah, just
me?
kind of the genres that
I
you hear
Yeah,
in the different
well,
demographics. You know what I mean?
probably the most important part of it for me is I listen to music with an open spirit. All
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, there's not a tone of music that turns me off. Like, because I know a lot of people, like, if you play a country record and, you know, they're don't listen to country the first instance, they're, oh, what is that? I don't want to hear that. And vice versa for like a hip hop record.
Mm-hmm.
And, so like music to me, the first thing that I 100% that I wish people would understand is genres do not own music.
Nope.
Genres borrow from
Yep.
music. So when people get to a point to where they're saying, hey, this isn't this record here, or this isn't country music, or this isn't proper hip hop, like, who says that?
Yep.
Who owns
I
that?
love
Because
that.
country music didn't create 12 notes,
Nope.
nor did hip hop, nor did rock. They all borrow from music.
It's weird,
And
right? Because like the expectation is supposed to be for people, not for an artist, but for people, the listener, the consumer, so to speak. The expectation is black and white, right?
right,
But yet
right,
art is subjective. Art is gray. It will always be gray. And you
right.
can't you can't put black and white on art. It just doesn't
It's
work.
it's
Um,
100. You're 100
yeah,
percent
and
right,
it's
Chris.
it's
Like,
always evolutionary too, right? So you go over the history of music, no matter what the genre is, and you're always going to hear different elements of different things in each piece of art. It all depends on the influences of the person who created it.
Yeah,
Right? And that's all it is.
100%.
And that's what makes art great is each person is influenced in a different way. So
Yeah.
there can't be black and white. The expectation is wrong, right?
Well, and if it was black and white, you'd be really tired of the music.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Like I tell people all the time, like, look, I think Chris Stapleton is one of the greatest to ever do it, period.
Yes.
But if you listen to Chris Stapleton, that's not a country singer, that's an R&B soul singer.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right?
Yep.
So you can't say that you don't like certain genres because it's been blending and it's great when it does. Now, is there music that I'll hear that I'm just like, it just doesn't do anything for me? Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Of course. Everyone has that right. Everyone has that ability to be able to kind of pick and choose what they like. But for me, when I'm making a record, the first thing, and this is and actually I had to do this for myself first, and start to say, hey man, you have to make records, because I used to try to play that game of, well, you know what, I'm gonna play country, I'm not gonna add any of the influences that might be considered hip-hop or R&B, and then I got to a point to where it said, you know what, but if I'm only doing that, I'm only offering you half of what Big Joe Walker
Exactly
is.
right. Yep.
And when you go back into listening to my records, once I'm dead and gone, I want you to know who I was in its entirety.
Yep.
And so that's the great thing that I've been blessed with, to be able to grow up and experience different types of lifestyles, is to be able to understand those stories and in those lifestyles, because truthfully all stories are the same. I tell people all the time, we all want the same things. We want to be able to take care of our families and be left the hell alone.
Yep.
That's what everybody wants. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter. Like, that's what everybody wants.
Mm-hmm.
And in music, when you think about a song, I don't think about, like, if it's a love song, you're thinking about the act of love, not the persons that's sharing that love, because you want to leave room for people to put themselves and have their own interpretation of your music in.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I've been really excited. We've been really busy in in the studio right now, and the band's going to be coming in here in a little bit, but we've been going back and forth just in making music, because we have such a new lease on what we're wanting to create, and it's been real special for us.
I love that, man.